Well, this is something that we can always get better at. So what is the one question that you think salespeople just must ask in every sales discovery call?
I think a future state question, right? And a future state question around, in the next 60 to 90 days, if you had a magic wand, what would your business be doing differently? Is probably a really important question. A lot of salespeople don't ask. They don't ask that future state question. And a drill down, and if you're not able to achieve that, what would be the impact on your business and your strategy, right? Something around that. Now, there's so many ways you can ask that question, Dave, and let me talk you through why asking future state questions are important. Is because organizations don't buy what you do, they buy the outcome you help them achieve. They're buying change, right? And in order for them to get to that point of acceptance that they need to make this change, they've got to see a new possibility. They've got to see what's possible. What does tomorrow look like? And they've got to have real clarity over tomorrow, right? And often I see a lot of individuals get stuck in asking current state question that's very feature focused, that's very much focused about what their system or product or service does. But people don't buy to stay the same. They're buying to move to tomorrow, right? And we need to understand what that gap is. Current state questions, and if you look at Spin, everybody knows the book Spin. It's been around such a long time, and it really did have a massive impact on the sales industry. Situational-based questions, need-based questions, impact-based questions, and there's some great questions there. But fundamentally, future state questions are critical. Yes, you want to understand gap, but not enough ask that question, what does good look like? And in some cases, people ask questions that are too far ahead, 12 months.
Yeah.
And what happens is 12 months becomes something that in some cases the buyer's like, it's too far for me to take action today, right? So therefore, if you are going to ask a really big picture 12-month question, bring it back. What changes do you need to make in the next 90 days that'll help you get closer to your 12-month plan, right? Because if you don't, it's like a funnel. If you don't bring them back, potentially your proposal might not hit the mark because it's too far out, yeah? So you got to bring it back to that 90 days.
Love that. And do you think it's better to ask open-ended questions or more direct?
Open-ended are very important because there are cases where you'll ask close-ended, but remember, if a good question creates value, a good question will trigger the buyer to stop and think, yeah? And we want to be really thoughtful about the type of questions that we ask. Because when we ask them a question that they're really struggling to answer, it means they're thinking, yeah? And in some cases, they need to go and research something, right? And the thing that I often see as well, which really, I've never understood this, the questions that we ask should be prepared in advance. Our research on the organization, our research on the industry, on the individual, like great questions should be prepared prior, thought about, right? Not to a point of script where you stay on that particular path.
More so guardrails to give you a guide, right?
Because then it shows the prospect, or it shows the buying committee that you're a professional, that you've really considered their position and you've looked at their listed report. Again, if they're a listed organization, you should be downloading that report. You've got ChatGPT, throw it in, put a few prompts, pull some information, and then that should dictate some of the questions that you'll ask. When you do that, you'll find the buyer will look at you differently. They'll look at you as a consultant, right? As a trusted advisor versus a seller that's asking. Buyers know if you're asking pain-based questions so that you can position your product or service. Push that to the side, right? We're consultants, we're professionals. The questions that we ask will help us really uncover the opportunity.